I like to say to all that my story is the essence of the resilience. Resilience is the ability to adapt adverse situation with positive results. I think that resilience is the main part of my story. As a feminist transactivist that I am, I can tell you about my story, how to adapt our life, knowing that we can live bad situations, but possible I will going to tell you some bad things that I live in all my life, but the better information that I will share with you is the positive thing that I am living right now. I learned to be resilient. I can certainly tell about adverse situation and how I have to adapt. I'm glad to say you also tell you about positive results. Today, I am a transgender woman that lives in Honduras. I live in San Pedro Sula, the capital industrial of Honduras. I work in Colectivo Unidad Color Rosa. Colectivo Unidad Color Rosa is the first organization of the north zone of of Honduras. Colectivo Unidad Color Rosa is the first organization that defend and monitor the human rights of LGBTQI people in the north zone of Honduras. I have to tell you that San Pedro Sula is the most dangerous city of Honduras, dangerous city for all the people that live there. But imagine what does mean live in San Pedro Sula to the transgender people. If for all the citizens that live there is dangerous, how much or how more is dangerous for the transgender people? But let me go back and tell you some back of adverse situation. I come from Honduras, that is a country that we live with a culture of misogyny and toxic masculinity. We are often target of the violence because a culture of violence for the gangs. In the past, I see many of my friends and acquaintances be murdered because their gender identity and sexual orientation. I like to say to you, I like to tell you that LGBTQI people in Honduras are one of the most vulnerable populations if we have to compare with other populations. When I was born in San Pedro Sula, and I remember that when I was a little child, I liked to be called Sofia. Sofia is my name, is my preferred name since I was a little child. But my family, classmates, passersby don't recognize to me that name. Against that, they give me discrimination and call me maricón. Maricón is a word is a word that is used for describe a man that have a feminine behavior. But I have to say that it's an insult. Okay? Past the years later, the doctor dismissed me when they say that I am a fake woman. So it's a very difficult situation for all the transgender population in Honduras because the transgender men are fake women, are fake men, and the transgender women fake women. So the transgender people are fake people. I was surrounded by the stench of discrimination from my family and people around me. By the age of 70 years old, I can't stand it any longer. I remember that I only take like a few clothes in a backpack and I go out from my home. And I go for a city that is nearby San Pedro Sula. It's named Choloma. So one of my safe space is the home of one of my friends. While I was 70 years old with any money for buy food, for buy clothes, for survive, I know that I need a job. I need to work to have money to pay all. And like other transgender women in Honduras, in all the region, I became a sexual worker. I spent 3 years, night by night, in the sexual work. But in that process, I know that the client demand to me feminize my body. Because they say to me, you don't have breast, hips, and yes, of course, I don't have it. This situation pushed me to use and abuse. I was going to change the word. I abused of contraceptive pills because in that process I want to have curves in my body to feminize my body. I remember that I see many of my sisters, of my friends, injecting mineral oil in her bodies in this search of feminize their bodies. But I remember one of more special person that I, in my life, have the opportunity to know is Alejandra. Alejandra was the more special person that I can remember. And I remember that she said to me, Sofia, you are so young. Don't do that, please. So for that reason, she repeats me this many times. But she in the past doing her body. She did it in her body. It's very hard telling you this because Alejandra was so special for me. She was my best friend. She was my sister. And the most hard thing that I like to tell you is Alejandra dead because she had complication of his health, because she had sepsis and other complications, and she was one of the friends of my sister that died because she abused of ornaments and inject oil in her body. I remember that 2016, one day, the coordinator of Colectivo Unidad Color Rosa says to me, because I went to the office and I have in my face many bits in my face. I remember that I have green, yellow, black, brown, because one of my clients, the last night, beats me because was an act of discrimination, was an act of, because he hates the transgender woman. And the coordinator of Colectivo Unidad Color Rosa said me, why you are right now doing sexual work if you can offer other things to the transgender woman population in Honduras? In that moment, that was so hard because I have the experience of that huge violence the last night. After this, I began to work in Colectivo Unidad Color Rosa, first in giving information to men in the streets, information for how to prevent the HIV and AIDS. Now I have 10 years working in political advocacy for have a goal in Honduras, that is the state of Honduras approve a transgender law for give us the opportunity to change our name in all the official documents in Honduras. I'd like to share with you, I show you, this is my ID, my national ID. Here we have two goals. I have my picture, my photograph, and I see like this, like who I am right now. But other goal is that do not appear the word sex. So for that reason, if you see near this ID, you don't know that I am a biological man, okay? But there's appeared the name that was assigned when I was born. So the job is beginning. Now I have 31 years old. I have overcome so many adverse situations. I grown personally as a result of my work in the activism and the defense of the human rights of LGBTQI people and people living with HIV. But I am working not for me. I know that. I am working because I am not able to see the result of my job, but I know that the new generation is going to be able to see what I am not able to see right now. Other thing that I like to share is that I have, with Alejandra, I remember that we use a phrase, a little sentence, or is this thing makes me so sad, because when I remember this, this thing took my heart very, very hard. But I will going to show you. With Alejandra, we use this phrase. Dream as if you'll live forever. Live as if you'll die today. This was a phrase that we use every time that we feel so sad, that we feel so in bad situations. So for that reason, 2 days after she died, I go to a studio of tattoos, and I have this tattoo. Only 2 days after Alejandra died. So I like to finish my story saying, help us for say to the society, not to discrimination, just to equality and equity for all the populations that are in the vulnerable condition against us. Another thing that I'd like to add is the transgender population need a transgender law for have the opportunity to change the name in the official documents, because it's the first step to live with human rights. Thanks you.